Okay, so Rev's got a big test tonight. It's going to be, is he going to get rid of the monkey off of his back? The reputation that I hate to say it, a lot of people think he chokes in big matches. And this is a great opportunity to make a statement to the entire tennis world that he's for real, that he should be consistently competing for Grand Slam titles and winning them. He got to the finals of the U.S. Open, which was amazing, and he lost to Dominic Thiem. And I think one thing is he didn't, even though he got to the finals of a Grand Slam, he didn't really earn a lot of respect because it was without Nadal and Djokovic got disqualified and Federer wasn't there. So I think a lot of people goes, well, it was the U.S. Open, but it almost doesn't count because why? Because the big three weren't really there competing, staying in the way for him to get to the finals. And then when he got to the finals, that final between Dominic Thiem and Zverev, it was a choke fest. I mean, it was the first time either of them were there, but it wasn't very pretty tennis to watch. And now he's going against Novak Djokovic, and he's going in very hot. Let me know, guys, who do you think is going to win this match? Because Zverev is going in this match red hot. There's no injuries to speak of, right? He looks healthy. He's not talking about any injuries. He looks really good on the court. He's keeping his serve under control. That's all really good. And we know that Djokovic has a big question mark on his back in that he has admitted he has an injury. He says he knows exactly what it is, but he's not going to really share too much information with us because he wants to win the tournament. So let me know. Diego's coming on and he says upset alert. So people are feeling like this could be it. This could be where Djokovic, where the run ends for Djokovic here. He's just had such a phenomenal run at the Australian Open. It's like you could almost pencil him in to win when he's healthy. So this is going to really be a test for both players. And I think it's going to show us that if Djokovic can somehow get through this match, then you have to kind of take away the concern that he's too hurt to play well and to win big matches, right? So I think this is going to be obviously a make or break for Djokovic and how far we believe he can go. Obviously, if he doesn't win, he's not going to win. But if he does win this match, it shows that despite being injured, he's still playing at a very high level and that he can go through and actually win this match. Because I think that if he wins against Zverev, he will be in the finals. And if he gets to the finals, that's all just about, who's hot that day. And it's him and Nadal. They both have come in the tournament a little banged up, and they're just going to come out there, and it's going to be who's hot. And I don't think we're really going to be taking a look at the injury as an issue. Who's going to win the Australian Open if Djokovic can get through this match? If he loses, do you think that Zverev again will kind of still not get the respect where people are going to go, well, yeah, you won, you got to the finals, but Djokovic was hurt. So it'll be very interesting match to see. And we know that Alexander Zverev is going to really test Djokovic's body today because he's got such a huge serve. He's got huge ground strokes. And he likes to stand way behind the baseline and get into some longer rallies. So Zverev's got that unique ability to knock you out with one punch, but he also can stand back and go toe-to-toe with you in some long rallies. And for a big guy, he moves really well. And so there's going to be a lot of big question marks that Djokovic has to answer tonight. They've played a total of 7 times. Djokovic has won 5 of those, but they just played at the ATP Cup. And Djokovic won in 3 very tight sets, won 7-5 in the third set. But I looked at the match highlights. Let me know what you guys think about this. I looked at the match highlights, and it just didn't look like good tennis. Maybe they just were not picking some good highlights, but usually when you go to the YouTube and you type in match highlights, and especially if you're going to see Djokovic versus Nadal, you're going to see amazing highlights. I was looking for some great highlights. I really didn't find much. It looked like a pretty ugly match. Maybe you guys could let me know what you thought of that match because I didn't really get to see it. But either way, who's ever going to win tonight has got to play well. So we'll see how that serve really stands up. I think that's what's going to be. Look for tonight. Alexander Zverev how is the serve going? How's the second serve going? And how's the forehand going? When he is nervous, when he is choky, he starts to decelerate. He starts to throw in some like 60-mile-an-hour second serves. You can see his forehand literally slowing down mid-swing. You don't really see pros ever do that. You see club players do that all the time. It's really weird to see a professional tennis player slow down their swing in the middle of the shot. But you see Zverev actually do that when he gets nervous, and it's on his serve and his forehand. His backhand, even when he's nervous, always seems to be solid. He seems to have really, really good confidence on this. Okay, Diego says, if Djokovic surpasses Zverev, he will almost be undefeated. That's right. I mean, he barely ever loses at the Australian Open, and he also, I think, in the last year, of course, we've had COVID, so it's different. But I think he's only lost 3 matches in the last 12 months, and one of those losses is because he just did a bonehead move and hit that lines lady. Otherwise, he would only lost twice. So I mean, Djokovic is playing just year after year at an extremely high level. But when the injury's there, the injury's there. If he can't go motoring across the court side to side, go full open stance and rip shots, he's not going to beat Zverev. I don't think he can beat Zverev with a serious injury. I think he can beat Zverev a little nicked up, but I mean, if Zverev plays well and Djokovic is like seriously hurt here, I think Zverev's playing at a level to where he should take care of Djokovic if he's legit, like in a lot of pain. Like if he's swinging through his shots and grimacing at the same time, like if it literally hurts him to make certain moves, Zverev is such a high level player that he should be able to win this match. I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure on Zverev. I think Zverev, that's another thing that scares me, is I think Zverev knows there's a lot of pressure tonight. He knows that even though Djokovic on paper is the favorite because he's Djokovic, arguably the greatest player ever. You know, you make the argument between Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer, who's the greatest ever. You can argue for any one of them, but so on paper, Djokovic obviously the favorite. But when you look at the reality of the situation, Djokovic admitting he's injured, not really wanting to let too much out of the bag, but you know the injury is there. Zverev's got to be feeling pressure like, man, I got to really step up. It's time to step up. It's time to bring the whole game. You only get so many passes, right, of being like, oh, it's the young next gener. He'll win in his time. Like, look how many young players, promising players have come up and just gone right through the Fed, Nadal, Joker era, and they just walk away with no Grand Slam titles. So it is time for him to step up. It's a big opportunity, and I think he has got to take advantage of it, because whoever wins this match, I think will be in the finals. Maybe Grigor Dimitrov can get there. I don't know, but I mean, I would say this is the match to get to the finals, and it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. Diego is very active on this. Djokovic at 80% has poor probability of beating Zverev. I agree. And that's the big question mark. Is he at 80%? I mean, do you guys think he's at 80%? Is he at 90%? I don't know. I think if he was at 90% or better, I don't think he would admit that he has an injury. So he probably is about 70, 80%. I mean, he's about 70, 80%. Zverev's got to step up and win this match, guys. That's my opinion. I think the pressure is really on Zverev. Djokovic always has the pressure on him that he does not want any more separation between him and Nadal, especially. Like, if he loses and Nadal seems to be getting stronger every match, the back seems to be getting better every match, you know, and Nadal gets to the finals. I mean, if Nadal gets to the finals healthy, he's not going to lose. And Djokovic knows that. Djokovic, I think, feels like, I've got to get to the finals and somehow beat Nadal so I can get one step closer. He's made it clear. I want to have the most. When it's all said and done, Djokovic has made it clear. He knows he's younger. He knows he's a little bit behind. He's made it clear. It's like, when it's all said and done, I want to have the most Grand Slam titles. Nadal doesn't really say that. You know he does, but he doesn't really claim it, that that's what he wants. Federer, I don't think he's going to really win another one. I just don't. I would like to see him, but it's time is running out, and with the injuries seem to come in more and more for Fed. Him skipping some majors, he's run out of chances. He's got to win Wimbledon, and even he wins Wimbledon, you think, I mean, Nadal could win easily another 2 or 3 just French Opens alone, and add some Australian Opens and maybe a Wimbledon and a U.S. Open. So I don't think Federer is going to be the one who has the most or tied. I think history, it's going to be between Nadal and Djokovic. Those two guys, whoever ends up with the most, will have the most Grand Slam titles. We've always thought of Fed for years, because he's had the 20 and they didn't have the 20 yet, as the greatest, as the GOAT. But when it is all said and done, the chances of Federer being tied with any of them is really slim, I think, at this point, when you look at it. I think it's going to be Djokovic, Nadal. They're going to be the ones who holds the most. And so there's a lot of pressure on Djokovic to get to that final. Let's see. Ali says, and the one double career Grand Slam. Yeah. I mean, Djokovic is amazing. Let's see. The Edberg. I have no idea what the Edberg comment is. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for being on this live stream. And, this is a really good opportunity for you. I've been saying this on my live streams, to put in writing, to put your votes below who you think is going to win the Grand Slam titles on both the men and the women's side. That way, in about a week, you can come back and show all your friends that you picked it right. And if you're wrong, you just don't tell them that you posted it, and they won't know, okay? Because they're probably not stalking you like that. So comment below. Let me know who you think is going to win tonight's match and who is ultimately going to win this Australian Open. If Djokovic is about 70 or 80%, which I'd have to suspect that he is, I don't think he can go through and win the matches that he has to win to actually win the tournament. So I don't think at this point Djokovic is a favorite to win it. I'm looking at the lower half of the draw. I think the title is going to be held at the lower half. I'm looking at Nadal. I'm looking at Medvedev. I think that and Tsitsipas, those three. I think one of those three is going to be your Australian Open champion on the men's side. And then I am looking on the women's side. I am looking at Naomi Osaka, Serena. You always have to put Serena in there if she's in the tournament. And I like Brady as a dark horse. I watched her play last night. Massive game. Massive game. Well, welcome. First time here. Well, thank you for being here. Ali says, I think Novak must win the tournament in order to retire with the most Grand Slams, in my opinion. I think you are right, because the way this year is shaping up, we skipped Wimbledon last year. So now what we're looking at, if the French Open can keep their schedule, you can have Nadal going 21, then the French Open. I mean, he is just so far ahead of everybody on that clay still. If he's healthy, it's not even a fair fight. So you're looking at Nadal having the chance to go 21, 22, Djokovic stuck at 17. That's going to be tough. I mean, Nadal literally, this could be the year, 2021 could be the year that Nadal puts the distance away from Federer and Djokovic. Because if Nadal just stays at 20 or even 21, I think Djokovic will eventually pass him. But if Nadal is staying in the way of Djokovic, holds him back a couple times this year and gets to 22, Federer I don't see getting to 22. I mean, 22, 23, that could be the magic number if the longer he can keep Djokovic at 17, right? Because that's really who he has to worry about the most. I don't think he has to worry about Federer catching him. So it could be tough. Who's playing? Question is, who's playing against Nadal? Tsitsipas. And Tsitsipas is an amazing player. If you don't know who he is, he's fantastic. Stefanos Tsitsipas, Greek player. He is feeling very, very confident, very flashy like Federer. One-handed backhand, great mover, loves to come to the net, loves to bang from the baseline. All-court player, very elegant. And Tsitsipas is feeling very, very good. That could be an upset as well. Don't be surprised if Tsitsipas takes down Nadal. But I think the longer Nadal to me throughout his whole career has always seemed the most vulnerable in the first week, whether he is not used to the balls or the surface or he's got an injury. When Nadal's going to go out, a lot of times it's in the first week. But when the tournament goes on, he gets stronger and stronger, and then he starts to say he's feeling better, which is exactly what he's saying right now. He gets to the finals almost every time. Although the Australian Open has been the toughest tournament for him to dominate. So if he gets an Australian Open, then they're going to the clay. All of a sudden, he's at 22 really fast. All right, Diego said, Jason, is the GOAT conversation only about Grand Slam titles, nothing else? Well, Jason, what else do you want to make it about? I mean, you could look at head-to-head. I mean, really, if you look at the last 10 years, because Federer and Nadal came on so early in their career and created such a great rivalry and won so many Grand Slams and got ahead of the field by so far, everybody has always talked about those two being the greatest and very, very reluctant to let Djokovic in that GOAT conversation. But if we're looking at 10 years straight, if you're looking at the last 10 years, Djokovic by far, numbers, stats-wise, head-to-head, Grand Slam titles, he is the GOAT. So, I think you do look. I think they've all put up such obnoxious numbers that it's going to come down to Grand Slam titles. Because you could go through head-to-head, you could go through number of tournaments won, all that kind of stuff, but they all have their own just crazy records to say, well, look at this and look at that. I think you do just have to look at, with those three, it's going to come down to who has the most Grand Slam titles. Whoever ends up with the most Grand Slam titles will be considered the greatest. That's my opinion. Nadal match after midnight, 2 a.m. That's right. Set your alarm. Get your popcorn out, because Tsitsipas versus Nadal, I think it's going to be a very fun match to watch. I think it's going to be a highlight machine. It's going to be very interesting matchups stylistically. Djokovic and Zverev, I think might be boring, to be honest. I was watching their highlights. Let me know what you guys think of the actual style of play between Djokovic and Zverev. I was looking on YouTube at the highlights at the ATP Cup. I found it very boring. I did not find one good highlight. I didn't see one amazing shot. So I think you'll see lots of good rallies, but I don't know. I don't know if you're going to see a lot of amazing highlights in Djokovic versus Zverev. I think it's a very interesting match. I think it's a very important match for both players, but I don't know if it's going to be so much fun to watch, where I think Nadal versus Tsitsipas is going to be very, very fun to watch. I think it's going to be very high-level tennis. I think there's going to be a lot of amazing shots, and it's always fun when you see different styles playing the game against each other. All right, Tsitsipas, pretty fresh. Yeah, he's fresh. He looks good. I like Zverev's style. He's very athletic. Yes, he is. Rublev Medvedev, also a tough one. Yes, Rublev Medvedev, going to be a great match. I'm picking Medvedev there, although Rublev is looking really good. He's just kind of silently going under the radar, just easily winning his matches. So I think that Rublev could surprise us all and maybe somehow be in the finals. I don't think anybody's seen that, and it could happen. And he maybe should be getting more respect from everybody, including myself. Zverev versus Djokovic will be a serve fest, I think is what Johnny meant to say. Please broadcast the live match on your channel. Well, I'd love to put the match on. I could talk about it, but I've been doing lots of previews, and it's been fun. I think I'm going to continue to do the previews. Diego says I'm right about Rublev. Yeah, Rublev's tough, guys. He's a very, very tough player. Very underrated because lots of times the TV broadcasters just don't talk about him enough. What about Serena versus Halep tonight, says Jason. I did a broadcast earlier on this, and Serena versus Halep is going to be a great match because, again, the styles are so contrasting. Serena, power versus speed, right? Serena's power versus Simona's foot speed and consistency. And I think that's all going to come down to is how many blows can Simona Halep take? How many times can she run side to side and make Serena play one more ball? For her to win, she's going to have to frustrate Serena, get so many more balls back in play to where Serena starts missing and then starts getting tired and then starts getting frustrated. If she could do those three things, she will upset Serena. But Serena, a couple of things that is going to make it tougher for Simona. Serena, first of all, says she feels like she's in a very good place up here. She says she feels calm, she's happy, she's enjoying her tennis, she's loving competing. And we saw that in the last match. She faced a lot of intense competition in her last match against Sabalenka. They both played amazing. Serena stayed really, really calm. Lots of times we see Serena lose her, you know what, in situations like that. She was calm. That was number one. And she also looks fitter than she has in past years. And she's getting to more balls. I don't think she has near the foot speed she used to have, but she's getting some really good gets that I haven't seen her make in a couple of years. So if I had to pick, I'd pick Serena to edge that one out in a very tight match. All right. What do I think about? Okay. First of all, I am embarrassed to say I don't know how to pronounce this guy, the new guy, Karatsev. He's a qualifier. He played amazing against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Big comeback, was down 2 sets, came back and won that match. And he's got a solid looking game. Like when you watch him play, this goes to show you, oh my gosh, there's so many amazing players out there. This guy's a qualifier, and because his game looks solid, it looks like he should be in the top 100 all the time. The way he's playing, I mean, his strokes look awesome. His serve is awesome. His movement's awesome. He's got a beautiful all court game. He's a tough competitor. I don't know how all of a sudden he's 27, and this is the first time we're hearing of him. I mean, he's 27. He's been trying this for a long time. So it's kind of weird that he hasn't been able to put it all together until now when you look at all that he has. So I don't know. This could be the ultimate Cinderella story, right? And then baby fed though, Dimitrov, he would be such a great story as well. Some guy who is had all the talent in the world, had a lot of heartbreaking losses in some big matches. Immediately his match against Nadal comes to mind, where he had Nadal. He played a beautiful match at the Australian Open. I think if he could have got through that match, he might have won the Australian Open. I think it would have ended up playing Fed. Can you imagine that would have been Fed versus baby Fed in the final of the Australian Open that year? And he just had a heartbreaking, crushing loss. So I would like to see Dimitrov. That would be really fun if he could win. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening, but he could. He could be a top 20 player, yeah, but 27 years old. I mean, is this it's amazing how many times people out of nowhere have made an amazing run and then you never hear from him again. So he's got to prove it the next tournament and the next tournament and the next tournament. That's what makes Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic so amazing, is they show up every single tournament, every time. So that's the trick. That's a trick in tennis, is you got to show up every week, and very few players can do that. Late Prumers tending to, yeah. Let's see. Do you feel like Djokovic-Raonic match, Raonic could use Djokovic more to his advantage in a way? Well, I don't know. I mean, I felt like Raonic played a pretty good match, and I think at certain points in the match he was taking it to Djokovic pretty good. And Djokovic resolved to win is, he could be one of the best ever at losing a set 6-1. Him and Nadal have that great gift of like losing a set 6-1, 6-2, and then coming back and just smoking you in the next set. And so he was able to turn that match around when it looked like Raonic was coming back and really, really testing Djokovic. And we didn't fully figure out how bad the injury is, but we know it's there. He wouldn't be, I don't think he's faking it. I don't think he's looking for attention. I don't think he wants the attention. I don't think he wants to talk about it much. It's there. So Djokovic-Nadal final. I think if Djokovic and Nadal get to the final and Djokovic is really, really injured, if the injury is there, I mean, you just got to give the edge to Nadal, because it looks to me, and the way Nadal is talking, it looks to me like the back injury is fading. The other thing about the back injury, though, guys, is we know with one move, you can go right back into that back injury, and you could literally go to where you can't walk. So, both players, it's kind of weird. They got to go all out, but they got to be careful too. So it's all about how they're being treated and cared for in between matches. Actually, last year I got to go to. This is actually an authentic Australian Open hat. I actually watched last year Raonic play Djokovic. They played last year too, and I was in the fourth row, right there in Rod Laver Arena. I'm just trying to say that to make you guys feel extremely jealous of me right now. But I got a question about where was I going with this? I was about to make a point on physios, and Sam Querrey. We were with this group called Tennis Ventures, and Sam Querrey, actually, one of the things with Tennis Ventures is a really cool thing. Look up tennisventures.com online, where you play there and you stay there and you go watch the matches. And Sam Querrey came over to our table, and somebody asked him about coaching and having a coach and all that. And he says, at this point in my career, I don't think it's important to have a coach, but one thing you absolutely have to have is a good physio. He says the physio is the most important person on your team. And it's really, really going to show up for Djokovic and Nadal. How well can the physios take care of them, get them ready, get them feeling as good as they possibly can to get ready to go and win another Grand Slam? So I think that's going to be huge. All right, more questions. You guys are asking some amazing questions. Shapo is similar to a younger theme, rips the ball. Yeah, I mean, Shapo is great, but I mean, he always just shows promise in tournaments, but not getting to the final. Yeah. I don't know what you can say about Shapo at this point. He's got to do more. He's got to do more. He can't just have the one big win in the tournament and then go away the next round or two. He's got to just keep showing up week after week. He's not doing that. So Shapovalov to me has been disappointing, to be honest. Defining moment for Sasha. Joker's already the GOAT. Battle of interest. I mean, that's right. I think if you're just looking at the match, who's got a better excuse after the match if they lose? I think Djokovic can come on and he can hold his head high and say, I did the best I could. I wouldn't have played this tournament. He's already said that, by the way. Djokovic has already said, I would not have played this tournament if it was just a regular tournament. But since it is a Grand Slam tournament and I want to have the most Grand Slams at the end of the day, I'm playing the Australian Open. So if he loses, he can come off and say, I gave it all I had and I just didn't have it. If Zverev loses, it's like you had a chance. You had a big chance, because I think one thing that's important for the younger generation to do, and they are running out of time fast, is to be able to play a tournament with Nadal in there, with Djokovic in there, with Federer in there, beat one or two of them and win the title. I think that's what we need. The U.S. Open was great, but didn't you guys almost feel like, and I hate to say this, like it wasn't a real major because of just how weird it was at that time with COVID and the stands empty? I think now we're kind of getting used to seeing empty crowds, but it just had a weird feel for me. Like no one was there watching. You had Dominic Thiem versus Zverev there, no one in the stands, and two people choking back and forth the match. To me, it did not feel like a Grand Slam final. I didn't feel like they really, I hate to say this, deserved to be holding a Grand Slam title at the end of that. It was more like a challenger final match to me. I mean, to watch two players so awesome play so pathetic in a final, it certainly let me appreciate even more the quality that you see when Federer gets the finals against Djokovic, and all three of those guys, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer. I mean, when you see those guys play and you see what they produce in the highest level of pressure, with the fans packed in the stands, and every point is a war and every shot is amazing, it lets you know how great they are, especially when you see the quality that was lacking at the U.S. Open. So I hate to say it like that. All right, Zverev has top 5 serve, but a terrible second serve. Yeah. So, I mean, the key is, John, is Zverev has got to make a lot of first serves. If he is facing a lot of second serves, even if he's not double faulting, Djokovic is the greatest returner of all time. I mean, one thing I think we can all agree on, You can make an argument Federer is the GOATest, the GOATest. Federer is the GOAT, Nadal's the GOAT, Djokovic is the GOAT. You can negotiate that. You can debate that any way you want. But the greatest returner of all time is Novak Djokovic. And if Zverev is hitting a lot of second serves, he doesn't even need to be double faulting a lot. Djokovic is going to win. So he's got to make a lot of first serves, and it's just not even about putting the first serve in play. He's got to be bringing some bombs. He's got to be getting free points. He's got to be stretching Djokovic out. He's got to be just really dominating from the first strike. So that's going to be super important. Super important, guys. What about Murray? Well, I just think at this point, Murray in his career, we just have to be applauding that he's out there. Murray, again, one of the greatest movers of all time. I think what we can still see about Murray in his game is he's still one of the greatest competitors ever. But he's no longer, even if his hip feels good, he will never again be one of the greatest movers of all time. And if Murray is not one of the best movers out there on the tour with how amazing these players are on the tour, he's not going to be a threat to win a Grand Slam title. He's going to maybe have a big upset every now and then, like beat a really good player every now and then, but he's not going to go 2 weeks and move the way he needs to move and recover the way he needs to recover. I don't care how good or bad he says the hip feels. He's just not the same guy. He's not. He's still the same competitor. He's still awesome at tennis, but he's not a Grand Slam contender anymore. And I don't think he will be again. Oh, returner. Okay, sorry. You meant as a returner. Again, no, I don't think you can. I think he's a great returner. I don't think you can compare him to Novak Djokovic. I mean, just look at all the results that Novak Djokovic has. Look at all the Grand Slam titles he has. They talk about the big three. Well, now it's the big three, then it was the big four, whatever. But those three are so far ahead of Murray as far as what they've done in their career. Murray's a way, way distant fourth now in that whole conversation. I don't even think people think about it much anymore, to be honest. Some people like Murray's return more than Djokovic. Yeah, but Djokovic's return has collected him way more hardware than Murray's, a lot more. And so I just don't think you can compare the two, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's all this is, just my opinion. I hope that you guys have really enjoyed this live stream. It's been fun to talk with you. I'll be back for some more. Do you think Medvedev has a good chance to win this year's Australian Open? Yes, I do. And I think that Medvedev, out of all the next geners, to me gives me the most. I'm not saying he's my favorite player, but as far as I just feel good about his chances of always being there. I can see him year after year, tournament after tournament, always being in the semifinals, finals, and winning some. Even Tsitsipas, as amazing as he is, sometimes he just loses some matches. You're like, what? And he has some episodes on the court where you're just like, really? He's getting close, Tsitsipas, but out of all the guys I have confidence in, this guy's so hard to beat, is Medvedev. He is very, very tough. He's right. He reminds me a lot of, even though their styles are different, he reminds me of Nadal and Djokovic in that when you watch him play, you look at what it takes to win a point and you're just like, man, that's hard to do. It's hard to win a point against Medvedev. And at sometimes he goes on some streaks where you're like, it's impossible to win a point against Medvedev. So I would not be surprised at all if Medvedev won the Australian Open this year. And I think that he is somebody that definitely deserves to win a Grand Slam title. And I think he will win one very, very soon. And if he doesn't, I'll be very surprised. If he doesn't win a Grand Slam title in the next 2 years, I'll be shocked. I think he's going to win a Grand Slam title very soon. Do I think Novak will beat Zverev? Well, we've been talking about this, and Stacey, and I think it really comes down to Djokovic's health. If he is about 70 or 80%, the pressure's all on Zverev to deliver. It's all about him not choking this opportunity away. He's got to make first serves. He can't double fault too much, and he's got to hit through his forehand. If he makes first serves, if his second serve can hold up, and he's hitting through his forehand. I think based off of what Djokovic is talking about and how he's looked at some points out there on the court, Zverev should win this match, especially because Zverev is looking very healthy. He's looking very good. He looks solid. He hasn't shown any of the yips yet in this tournament. And so Zverev should win this match. If he starts to miss a lot of first serves, if he starts to double fault, and if you start to see him pushing around his forehand, he's not going to beat Djokovic. Djokovic just out of principle won't let that happen. If he looks across the net and he feels somebody's choking against him, he will not lose, even if he's 70 or 80%. But if he's looking over there and going, wow, Zverev is growing up. He's playing great. He looks physically strong. He's pushing me all over the court. I just don't think that physically I can stand up to this guy. Then, you're going to see Zverev get to another final, which would be kind of cool. That would say a lot about him. That'd be backing up the result at the U.S. Open, which Dominic Thiem did not do at all. Dominic Thiem, he won the U.S. Open, but man, he's had a rough go of it since then. Not doing a great job on the clay, and now at the Australian Open just got smoked. So, congratulations, and you have to really give Zverev. I mean, I know I've even been really hard on Zverev in this live stream, which I feel kind of bad about now I'm thinking about it. But I mean, some of it is deserved, I think. But backing it up and going to the finals 2 times in a row, that's a big achievement, and that's kind of what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting to see the younger players post consistent results. That's been, I think, a big knock on them. They show a lot of promise, but then they just are not consistent or not there all the time. And we're so used to seeing the greatest players show up every single tournament. So congratulations on Zverev looking this good. And it's a big opportunity for him to back it up. And I think he can do it. Zverev's never beat a top 10 player in a Grand Slam, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he actually got to the finals of the U.S. Open, and he did not even beat a top 10 player. That's crazy. That would be something we'd have to check the stat, but I think that's a really good point that Mark has just made. Is Zverev might not have ever beaten the top 10 player in a Grand Slam. That's crazy. That is a crazy stat. Who's your favorite upcoming ATP player? Well, my favorite if you can call him, is Medvedev up and coming. I mean, I think out of the new generation of players who look really, really solid, I like him. And also somebody that can still ride under the pressure at the moment is Sinner. Sinner right now can ride under that pressure of having to win a Grand Slam. It's like when he wins a big match, where you're like, oh, look at this young guy. Look what he can do. Watch his game. Oh, he seems mentally tough. He seems like he got a lot of skill, and he doesn't have to win yet. But all these guys, Sinner, Zverev, Medvedev, Tsitsipas, it's starting to become really, really time. Shapovalov, it's time for them to win one, or otherwise, their career is just not going to be respected like the respect I know that they want. Sinner is a very good ball striker. Absolutely, he is. He sure is. So, guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Pete from Crunch Time Coaching, and I love to come on and talk about the Grand Slam titles. I also love to help you with your tennis game. So if you wanted to improve your serve, I'm putting a banner right there. So if you go play tennis, I mean, what have we talked about this whole entire live stream? It's been about the serve of Zverev. That's really what I think it's going to come down to, is how Zverev serves, if he can win or lose. So we know at the pro level and at the recreational level, the serve is of huge importance. And we also know that a lot of recreational players can hit a first serve really hard, and then they have to do what Zverev does, is tap a second serve in. So I actually have a 7-day serve challenge that you can sign up for. You go to 7dayservechallenge.com and you get free 48-hour access to each day. You can even, so you get these lessons every day, and you can even send me in your video of your serve, and I will analyze it for you for free during that serve week. We're going to start February 22nd. So right after you're pumped up about the Australian Open, the next week we can work on your serve together. So go to 7dayservechallenge.com. If you like these live streams, please like up this video so more people can see it. So before you leave, if you did enjoy being on with me live today, like this video up. And if you've never seen me before and you enjoyed this and you'd like to just always be talking about tennis and learning about tennis, then I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys. We'll be back with more of these match previews. They're a lot of fun. You're enjoying them. I'm enjoying them too. Have a great night.